The empathic world of media, film and television. Hello, how are you? This is a bit of an impromptu. I kind of decided like 2 minutes ago that I was going to stream. Am I looking? Let me just do this button up here to stop you being tempted. I want to talk about this. There's a Freedom March going on today in London. Now, in the past, if there's been marches in London, there's been a big issue around mainstream media not covering these marches. And I've noticed it because there have been marches about things that the mainstream media don't like. Usually it's politically driven. The media are politically swayed in one direction, so they don't really want to give publicity, add oxygen to what people are saying. Now, one of the things that going on at the minute is there's a big movement to an anti-lockdown movement, a movement that says we all need to get out and mingle. I don't know if that is the best plan. The lockdowns are a massive hindrance. I don't like them, but I don't feel passionately. I trust that they are working, and there's a lot of people who don't feel that way. So I don't want to talk about particularly the do's and don'ts of lockdowns, but one thing I do want to talk about is broadcast television and what is happening. How is what's going on in the world in this particular trending topic, if you like, how is it being reflected in the media? We'll take a look at this here. This is footage from a helicopter of what they're calling the Freedom March. And look, it's live. Now, you might be thinking that's a bit of a juddery picture. And you'd be right. Because this is the result of crowdfunding by the Freedom Party, a very small party. They're trying to raise 30, well, as much as they can. So they've hired a helicopter. They did this crowdfunder. They've hired a helicopter, and they've got this guy here is a presenter. He's a doctor. And he's known in the UK, and he usually does like chat shows and things like that. But he's doing a very good job of presenting. They're let down a little bit by the technicalities of doing it. The connection with the helicopter is very, very poor. Should we just have a quick listen in so you can listen to the quality of the broadcast?
And of course the G7 posing as though we would expect them with masks and elbow bumping and behind closed doors at a barbecue and air kissing and kissing each other. I mean, really
okay,
just
so
not acceptable.
as you can hear,
I mean,
this is a political thing. There's a lot of bias in what they're saying. In fact, they were just, this chap was just saying a few minutes ago that this march has not been covered. It's quite a substantial march, by the way. You can see it there. It's going all the way down here, down Regent Street. Is that Regent Street?
That is, I believe.
They're quite spread out, to be fair, but that's a significant march. I'm not sure how many of those people are they just Londoners? Having getting their steps in for the Saturday? I don't know. But one thing that is, what's interesting about this is, and I'll keep it just quietly in the background, what's interesting about this is that this is people organising their own broadcasts. Now, I've never seen that before. Not live TV shows, the way they're presenting it, a guy in the studio handing it over to the helicopter. They haven't quite got the comms right with the guy in the helicopter, who's Richard Tice, who I think is the head of the Reform Party. I don't know. I really don't know. They're all Brexit related. They're the Reform Party. It's sort of libertarian side of life. These guys don't like being told by governments what to do. So that's what this is about. That's Trafalgar Square there. So they've organised themselves. That's what I'm impressed about. They've organised themselves. I disagree with everything they're saying. I don't side with them politically. And I don't like little things like this. When I see, this is a Twitter feed for Freedom March Live, which has got a link to where to go and watch it. There's lots of live little video reports coming back. People are live streaming on the ground using Periscope. But if you just scroll down, you get stuff like, there's footage of the bus. 19th of June. Hold on, what's happened to... Some of these tweets been deleted, maybe. Let me do a fresh search.
We should have been out of this on the 21st.
I'm looking there. I'm looking for this picture here. Now,
Should have been
I don't know if you know who these two guys. This is Calvin Robinson.
Jamie,
Hold on. What's happening? What's happening? Let me just move it onto a new, put it into a new tab,
our social media hub. I know a lot of people
so I can zoom in on it. This is Calvin Robinson here, and this is Julie Hartley Brewer, who is a journalist, I guess. And Calvin's kind of new to the scene. He's a anti critical race theory. He's anti BLM. And he's a teacher, but he's become a commentator now. And he often has different titles underneath his head and shoulders. And of course, people love him because he's a black guy who's against BLM. And he's a nice guy. I find him a little bit condescending on Twitter, but you know, it's you don't know who you're dealing with on Twitter. So maybe that's just how he's been worn down by people a little bit. But Julie Hartley Brewer is a journalist, and here she is quite clearly. She invites him on as a guest and a commentator on her radio show on Talk Radio. So he's her guest, and here he is interviewing her. So I'm not quite sure, is she still being a journalist or is she an activist? If she's an activist, can we trust what she tells us as a journalist? If she's holding people to account, is she going to let people who imagine the truth is not what she thinks. Imagine the truth is not what she thinks. Is she going to let you say that truth, or is she going to talk over you and hammer you down? Well, we know what she does because we've seen it. So this is, like, for me, concerning a little bit. And I'm not quite sure what's happening, but political groups are mobilizing and they are getting savvy and they are doing what mainstream media used to have a complete monopoly over, which is broadcasting TV shows. So the fact that this is Twitch, which is a multiple, somebody set up a feed here. I am the only current viewer of this. But all these live streams from people with their camera phones are streaming live to Periscope and whatnot, so you can see all this footage. It's not really very interesting to watch. But look, they've got somebody in some other studio somewhere, I think, who's reporting back what's happening. I think he's monitoring the social media feed. They're saying, by the way, that nobody is covering this. There's a story on the BBC website, London protests. Police arrest 12, is what the BBC is saying, ahead of weekend demonstrations. I can't show you. Well, I can't show you that. So that's it. What do you think? This is something new, and it's something that people aren't quite catching on to yet because it's still happening underground. In the shadows a little bit. People are making their own TV shows, and this is all a reaction to what. People not been happy with the BBC, particularly, the broadcaster who is funded by the British people's payment of a license fee towards a license fee. They're not happy with the coverage. They feel that there's a political bias. They believe it's skewed. I don't have any preference politically. I don't support the people on the right. I don't support people on the left. There's some things people say on different sides that I kind of agree with. Most of the time, I don't. So for me, I'm observing this stuff happening, and it's definitely interesting. We are definitely in interesting days, and I look forward to seeing how this sort of progresses. But the stuff that they're broadcasting right now, there's inaccurate information going out. And I'm seeing that these libertarians are using hyperbolic language in their broadcasts, which as a producer, I wouldn't let them do. They refer to masks as muzzles, for example, which is hyperbolic. They're not muzzles. You put muzzles on Hannibal Lecter. We're not being forced to live like Hannibal Lecter. They call lockdowns prison, like you've been locked away in prison, which is not. It's not been like that. Certainly not for me. And suddenly they're all fascinated about us kissing our family members. Or you're not been allowed to kiss your granny and stuff like that. A lot of it's just nonsense. What they don't like. They have one complaint. Don't tell us what to do, government. Don't take away our liberty. And they're often confusing liberty with, people talk about freedom of speech and liberty, and I find that what they mean is not taking away their liberty. Taking away your liberty is going to jail. If you do that, or if you think that, you're going to be locked up. That doesn't happen. You might get uninvited to something. You might not get the coverage that you want. But considering that they're having their liberty taken away and that they don't have any freedom, how come they're able to set up their own TV station? I'm currently broadcasting one of the feet from the helicopter. You can't see it. I can. Anyway, what do you think? That's really interesting to me that we're doing this. I think it's pretty cool. I don't particularly like the content, but I'm glad that people are doing it. And I think this is the start of something that's going to grow. Anyway, let me know what you think. You can on Twitter. I'm at Fludded, or you can just leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. You've been an absolute wonder. I don't know what's been wrong with you. Why did you watch that? I bet you're already regretting it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.